Well, hello everyone. My light's not on. That's a great start already. Hello everyone. It is Monday, and you know what that means. We have ourselves a spoiler warning show. Lots of news has already come out of the Royal Rumble 2022. Lots of ideas being passed around as to the plans for WrestleMania. But we're going to talk about what's actually happening. First and foremost, we're going to play a little bit of true or false with quite a lot of those Royal Rumble reports. But the overall headlines, the things that we want to be paying attention to. The report from PW Insider that Matt Riddle was going to be winning the Rumble. We're going to be talking about that a lot because that's not quite what I've heard. There are reports out there about Shane McMahon having backstage heat. Well, we did already talk about him producing the Rumble. Let's talk about the reaction that he had. We've got an update on Jeff Hardy, who was apparently, based on this, fired for nothing. Pardon me. And we've got a little extra on Bad Bunny potentially being a full-time member of the roster going forwards. Of course, as usual, we are an Ask Me Anything stream, so we will also be answering any questions that you guys have as we aim for about an hour, potentially previewing Raw, potentially going through the rumour look back if we have time and seeing how it goes. In the meantime, though, as always, we're going to say a quick hi to begin with. Wiggly is first in, saying, "So exhausted today." That's a great start. Great start, real vibrant, love it. Cheers, mate, welcome back. Spider-Boss says, "Hi Tom, what is the plan for Sasha?" At the moment, there is no plan for Sasha. They are currently desperately trying to work out a plan for Sasha because right now they are genuinely struggling to come up with anything for Sasha Banks for WrestleMania. There isn't a plan right now. It was going to be Charlotte until Ronda Rousey became available. Now the cat's amongst the pigeons and Sasha Banks is left out in the cold. Bailey says, "Hello Tom, the rocky road to WrestleMania begins." It does indeed, and WrestleMania, I'd say about a third of it is planned so far. The other two-thirds, nowhere close. The other two-thirds, they seemingly have absolutely no idea what they're going to do and are making it up as they go along. A little piece of news to start with. The original intention was not for Bobby Lashley to defend the championship in the Elimination Chamber. It really wasn't. Things have changed because they have finally found a plan. They finally got an idea as to what they want to do. Is that Matt Riddle? Well, we're going to be talking about that. Sean says, "Hello Tom, good to see you mate." And good to see you too, Sean. Great to see you guys. Always great when we start one of these shows and we've immediately got plenty of people jumping in saying hi. Quite a lot of likes already coming in on the YouTube video, which is fantastic. Around 3 weeks ago, the 9th of January, I came in on a Sunday show, so just over 3 weeks ago, and I said to you all, we are 5 subscribers away from 800. Just 5. Since then, you've got me to 875. 875. More than 80 new subscribers. More than 80 new subscribers in the course of a month. In the course of just over 3 weeks. And it's great to see so many of you coming back so frequently, jumping in, chatting away, joining in the questions and the answers. Even those who aren't there, who aren't here all that regularly, will still jump in every now and then. Let me know they're here, say hi, and we get a lot of lurkers as well now, so that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Welcome everyone to the Tom Colohue channels. Steve is here saying, "Hey Tom, hope you're well. Are the rumours true that Riddle was due to win the Rumble? If so, can you see him and Orton breaking up and one of them winning the WWE title in the chamber to set up the Mania match?" Now, let's jump into this first because it is the big news and I want to cover the big news as best I can. I'll probably do a proper video on this tomorrow, but let's share what I've heard so far. When it comes to the idea that Matt Riddle was scheduled to win the Royal Rumble, that's not technically the case. There was no time at which Matt Riddle was told, "You are going to win the Rumble." There was no time at which the schedule said Matt Riddle will win the Rumble. Instead, Matt Riddle's name came up during a larger session of which WWE management and the creative team sat down and said, "Okay, who have we got? Who do we want? Who can make this happen? Who can make it work?" The idea then was put forward for Matt Riddle, and this was one of the reasons they lost the tag team championships when they did, ahead of the original schedule. This was an idea, and an idea put to Brock just after he won the WWE Championship at day one. Brock was asked, "So how about working Matt Riddle for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania?" And Brock essentially said, and then won the Royal Rumble. That is essentially what happened there. Welcome, Jay Quick. Thank you very much for the host. I very much do appreciate it. That does help us grow on Twitch. Any bits, any subs, any follows, any hosts, all of that makes a big difference to our growth on Twitch as well. And we are closing in on that 450. I can't say quickly, but we're closing in on it. So please do consider jumping in there if you have not done so already. So essentially, that was the situation going into the Royal Rumble. After this, certainly there is the idea being pitched once again of having Riddle versus Orton for the WWE Championship. That is the case, and the WrestleVotes report is accurate from best I can tell, stating that quite simply, Matt Riddle is someone that the WWE are very highly behind, and someone that the WWE wants to have competing against Randy Orton for a WWE Championship. That said, what then do you do with Bobby Lashley? Is he going to lose the championship at the very first hurdle and then go up against, for example, Omos? Probably. Connor Welcome says, hello, Big Tom. Hello, Connor. BFG Podcast says, hello, welcome, mate. Ed Fry says, hey, everyone. Sorry I made Tom late, we were chatting on Twitter. We were ever so slightly. Ed, you've got this habit of jumping in right before a show starts, and I enjoy chatting to you. It's a problem. I need to like you less. Sean says, Matt Hardy revealed on his Twitch that Jeff did get called for the Hall of Fame induction, which he rejected and said he wanted the results from his drug test, and he got them 2 days later and they came back negative. This is another piece of news that I want to talk about, because I've been saying for weeks now, literally weeks, even a couple of days ago, I put on Twitter, making it clear, I am yet to see any evidence whatsoever of any wrongdoing from Jeff Hardy. Let me tell you what actually happened as far as I can tell when it comes to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy has not been happy in the WWE for a long time, particularly when it comes to his overall use. He wasn't the happiest in the Sheamus feud, but at the end of the bar fight, they were teasing Willow and other characters like that, so Jeff Hardy was excited. He wanted to bring those characters to the WWE. The WWE were not interested. They just wanted the Jeff Hardy name. Late on last year, Jeff Hardy did sign a new contract, debuted No More Words after prolonged negotiations. The WWE continually were getting the impression that Jeff Hardy did not want to sign on the dotted line. However, he did eventually do so for a deal that I would describe as lucrative. I'm talking Bret Hart in '97 sort of situation here. And I say that for a reason. Because at the end of the day, Jeff Hardy was not under the influence. He was not. Multiple sources have been stating so, to me and apparently to Matt Hardy, who seems like a credible source to me. Jeff Hardy was not under the influence. However, he was told, go to rehab or you're fired. Vince McMahon did not want to fire Jeff Hardy. Vince McMahon is apparently the biggest noise and the biggest supporter of getting Jeff Hardy to a new deal and getting him in back to the company and into the Hall of Fame as a sweetener of the pot. Nick Khan did a cost-benefit analysis, and Jeff Hardy was way down the list. What he was being paid was nothing close to what Nick Khan believed he was worth to the company. Vince McMahon felt differently, largely because he knew how much Jeff Hardy would make to the opposition. He knew how rich the opposition could get off the name of Jeff Hardy. Vince McMahon wanted to keep hold of Jeff by any means necessary. Nick Khan, not interested. Looked at the numbers, they didn't make sense for him. So Jeff Hardy, let's just say they found a way to fire him. That's the situation that we are looking at as regards Matt Hardy's conversations on Twitch, Jeff Hardy's conversations himself since, and of course sources that I've had. This is one of those stories that I've been ahead of. I've always been very good with my reporting on Jeff Hardy. Talking about how late he actually signed the deal. Not quite when they're saying, not quite when other reports are saying, but it's one of those. Jeff Hardy was not particularly happy. He wanted out. The WWE wanted him out. He went out. Now they want him back. He's going to AEW. You didn't hear it here first, but you heard it most reliably here. He's going to AEW. I may have said that from well before he left the WWE. Rob is here saying, hi Tom, welcome Rob, how you doing mate? Kervin says, yo, welcome Kervin. Jaden's here saying, hello, is Ronda choosing Charlotte? I cannot say for certain. Cannot say for certain. Also, I don't want to be in the business of spoilers too much, even though the show is spoiler warning. It seems like the plan is at the moment for Ronda Rousey to take on Charlotte Flair at this year's WrestleMania, and then for Ronda Rousey to take on Becky at next year's WrestleMania. Most likely situation there is another Royal Rumble win for Becky Lynch, who would not be the champion coming into the match. Sean says, will Ronda open Raw or be a draw segment? To be fair, Sean, opening Raw is a draw segment. That opening 20-minute promo, which always used to feature Vince McMahon, Steve Austin and The Rock, that's a way to keep people keep bums in seats, as it were, because the opening section is the section which has the most eyes. I believe Ronda will open the show, as do I believe will Becky Lynch. Spider Boss says, can WWE bring Lita as an opponent for Sasha at WrestleMania? They could. I don't think there's any intention to do that. WWE not as high on Lita as you might think. Spider Boss says the Women's Rumble gave a bad taste. Yeah, it wasn't good. Neither of them were good. At all. Sean says, congrats Tom. Claps hands and chants, you deserve it. Thank you, Sean, mate. Thank you. We are on track at the moment. 125 more to reach 1,000. We are also just under 600 hours of watch time left to get to a point of monetization. Those are the two things at the moment. We're about 15% away on each, even though we're at 12.5 for subscribers. Watch time, we're about 15. This is very good stuff. Very good stuff. And it does mean that potentially by WrestleMania, I may be able to look at monetization. At the very least, because we do so much content around WrestleMania time, we'll probably have more than enough watch time, I tell you that. Sean says, I heard there was a pitch for Randy to win the Rumble. There was a lot of different pitches for a lot of different people to win the Rumble. Brock Lesnar was not just a favourite, he was consistently the only choice they actually considered strongly. Spider-Boss says, I wonder if a Becky versus Ronda works tonight. Can WWE change their minds? Yes. You've got to remember, this report comes from Dave Meltzer, who did say that Sasha Banks would not be back until March. You know, you got to pick your battles with that one. Jay Quick says, who do you think will be the 5 challengers to Lashley in the Chamber? That's a good question. I don't think they're entirely going to be Raw, even though I kind of hope they will be. I'm confident we'll see Seth and Kevin Owens in there. We won't see Big E. He is not being considered a big deal anymore. Big E, here's another bit of exclusive for you. The move to SmackDown is because they do not believe that Big E is WWE Championship material anymore. They are not particularly happy with how his championship run went. They ended it early. They don't blame him. They just feel people didn't really get behind it as much as they had hoped. If you're currently watching on YouTube, please remember that little thumbs up icon. That like can make a massive difference to the show, and it makes a massive difference to our individual growth as well. If you haven't already done so, by all means hit subscribe. These videos have been exploding recently. The video from last night, our Sunday night show, has had more than 1,500 views since it was finished. We only got like 120 during the show, but then afterwards, more than 1,500. People are paying attention. Every like goes a long way to helping us grow, and I suspect one of the reasons we're growing so much right now is because we're getting 30, 40, 50 likes on some videos. It really does have a direct impact, so please do like if you have not already. Connor says, top quality Brock laugh. I try my best. Try my best for you. I try my best. As regards, just one quick thing about Jay Quick's question. Challengers to Lashley. I hope we see a number of SmackDown talents in there. However, I don't know who those SmackDown talents would be. The only obvious choice is Drew McIntyre. I don't feel they will take that big a risk with Drew McIntyre just yet. He will be an active wrestler. However, they are taking their time with him. I can confirm the report that stated that. They are going to be careful with Drew McIntyre going forwards there. Simon says, the crew is hijacking Occupying Raw tonight with We Want Sasha tweets. Together in the Mania main event with Big E goes Flair, Ronda, aka Bryan 2014 with Batista Orton. Sasha got screwed. The WWE are aware that Sasha Banks did not get the rub of the green. They did throw together a video package quite late on to try and make you think, oh, they do believe in her. But we all have questions. We all have questions. Spider-Boss says, Ronda versus Charlotte. What is next for Becky? Bianca Belair seems the obvious choice, which would mean a second big match for Bianca Belair and a second championship win at WrestleMania. Jaden says, is there still a chance Charlotte versus Sasha is still happening? A very small one. A very small one. Kevin says, I hear, I would imagine from all of the reports that say so, WWE changed the Royal Rumble 20 times on Saturday. The Royal Rumble is an evolutionary process. Shane McMahon, as I've mentioned before, has a real big hand to play here, and he's been very involved in the production of it, but he's not the only one. Different producers tweak different things. Different wrestlers tweak different things. There was also a couple of audibles called. For example, Kofi Kingston botch. Bit of a botchy Royal Rumble, all things told, but the Kofi Kingston botch did mean an audible had to be called as well. And there were a number of other audibles that were called during the show. The Royal Rumble did change. It absolutely did. But I don't think that's out of the ordinary. Jermaine is here, says, hi Tom. Hello Jermaine, how you doing? Captain Buzzy has arrived saying, hello everyone. The user says, hi mate. Hey guys. Oh, so glad to see so many familiar faces. Sonic says, hello Tom, how you doing? I'm doing good mate, thank you kindly. The chat rate is nice and high here on YouTube. We're getting views, we're getting growth. We are this close to monetization. Meanwhile, we're still growing on Twitch. We're still gaining people. We're at 43 viewers across both sides right now. Great things happening, and I'm very, very happy with how things are going. Mogsy, welcome to the show, says, do you reckon Paige will make a return to the ring? Yes. I am confident we will see Paige wrestle in a ring. Not for WWE. I do not believe she will wrestle again for WWE. Sean suggests Ronda will choose Mandy Rose. To be fair, here's the thing. Tonight is a great opportunity for NXT. An absolutely fantastic opportunity for NXT. What they should do tonight is get Becky there, get Charlotte there, and yeah, get Mandy Rose there. Put her in a ring with Ronda Rousey. Give us Mandy Rose versus Ronda Rousey tonight. Make it happen. If Ronda Rousey turns up on NXT to get her revenge on that, you know people are tuning in. Kevin says, what was the original plan for the Women's Royal Rumble? There was a number of different plans passed around, a number of people that they were checking to see who they'd make it. Bianca Belair was an obvious contender, but Sasha Banks was the favourite as of about 3 weeks ago. Ronda Rousey, of course, signed on in the past couple of weeks. Ed has renewed his subscription for a 12th month in a row. Ed was numero uno when it came to that subscription way back when. 1 full year of giving Tom Prime money, he says, and indeed that is very much the case. Thank you, as always. I really do appreciate it. It is a huge help, and you have been fundamental to my mental health and my growth. I give you immense credit for it because you've been a huge help to me. Thank you. We have 28 people currently watching on YouTube and yet only 11 likes. What gives, guys? Click that thumbs up for me. That'll help me grow. That'll help me do new shows and help make sure that we keep getting closer and closer to full time, in which case we get more and more content and more good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't already and click that like for me. Boss Pedal, welcome, says, I've heard that Hardy Boy's famous Loaded theme is stock music. Imagine him joining AEW and debuting with Matt and that music. They did tweak it in WWE and play a slightly different version of it. That version is copyrighted. The original version, not so much. BFG Podcast says, so basically they just use the rehab to say bye-bye. That's the impression that I've been getting, I'll tell you that. This is obviously not good news, but that's the impression that I've been getting. Max says, why have they brought Sasha Banks back if she's not 100%? Just to do this? WWE is just using her star power. Would they do that to Charlotte, Becky or Ronda? I would say no. Yes, they would do that to Charlotte, Becky or Ronda. They've in fact done that in the past. They did that to Shinsuke Nakamura and Drew McIntyre as well. They are trying to pop a rating. They are using her star power. You're absolutely right with that. Jay says her and Becky is doing a segment together. I don't know. I haven't seen anything announced as of that. Spider-Boss says, I fear that Ronda versus Charlotte may get a negative reaction from fans. I suspect it will. I think the WWE are looking at Ronda Rousey as a face. I ain't going to work out for them. That is not going to work out for them. Darnell, welcome, mate. Says, hey there. Sonic says, 4 hours of Royal Rumble. I definitely don't want to watch another PLE that is 4 hours again. Oh, we're getting used to PLE now. I like that. Premium live event. WrestleMania will be at least 2 nights of at least 4 hours. So keep a check on that one. Thank you, Megan. Thank you for the reminder. Saying Owens won't be in the chamber, he won't go to Saudi again. Thank you for reminding me of that. That's a very fair point. Kevin Owens is one of those that opted out quite a while back. There's a number of people who haven't, of course, and they will feature, but Kevin Owens definitely won't be one of them. I do worry, based on that they're going to run out of time to give us a plan for WrestleMania for Kevin Owens. Jay Quick says, could Shane McMahon go in the chamber? Maybe. It depends if Austin Theory's there. Bailey says, Big E shares much of the same underwhelming fan reaction that Nicky Cross did as champion. It's true, and it sucks. Simon says, Sasha is 100% cleared. She is. That doesn't mean they're going to risk her too much. You are most susceptible to injury when you've just returned from injury, and I know that because I play Football Manager. Max says, if Vince really loves Sasha like you were saying, she would be pushed like Charlotte and Becky. He does love Sasha. He genuinely does. You can see that in all walks of life, and to be fair, she returns that favour. However, the question is whether or not they actually are going to give her the big moments. Because you're right, they absolutely haven't. Sasha's been giving opportunities to others rather than taking them. Thank you very much, Get the Tables, for the host. I very much appreciate it, and it really does help us grow. For anyone who's not aware, and anyone who would normally watch the Raw watch parties that I used to do here, Get the Tables is doing a special watch party for WWE Raw. You can always click on their name and check them out. Follow for them means that you definitely have someone to enjoy Raw with who's nicely analytical as well. It says Lashley versus AJ versus Randy versus Riddle versus KO versus Seth. Outside of what Megan just said about Seth, I like where you're going with that, Ed. It's a fun sounding concept. And I think Riddle and Randy have to be in it. AJ, don't know what the plan is for him either. Ghost says, I wouldn't be shocked if Goldberg was in the chamber since they kind of left his rivalry with Bobby open. I don't think they left that rivalry with Bobby open. I think Bobby demolished him. I mean, absolutely demolished him. Sean says, Ronda Rousey wins the Royal Rumble match. She did. She did indeed. Sean says, according to Ringside News, WWE fans were outraged that WWE called Bad Bunny a WrestleMania legend. News to me, didn't hear anything about that. Heard no backlash whatsoever. Literally nothing about that. As regards Bad Bunny, before we continue too much on that one, I want to touch on some other things that have been reported there. Bad Bunny is going to be back for the foreseeable, at least until around WrestleMania time. The plan is for this to happen basically every year between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. We get some Bad Bunny, or at least that is what's being pitched. He is continuing to train, and honestly, he looks fantastic. So the WWE are planning to use Bad Bunny as much as they can, and I have no issue with them doing so. Now, as regards Shane McMahon, and once again, I have the inside track here because, as you know, first one to report Shane McMahon will be at the Rumble. First one to report Shane McMahon was going to have a match at WrestleMania, and now suddenly everyone else is getting the credit for it. Standard stuff, but doesn't matter. Because the plan is for a Shane McMahon WrestleMania match. It is not set in stone at this time, because essentially Vince wants Shane to work with Austin Theory. Shane McMahon does have a say, and may not automatically want to do that, so they are currently listening to Shane while they work out who does what. Shane would quite like to work with Matt Riddle. Steve says, old school question. What are your thoughts on the old WCW 3-ring 60-man battle royal for World War III pay-per-view? I haven't seen enough of them. The only one I've really watched is the one that was won by Kevin Nash. I enjoyed the carnage, but I think it's just too wide an area to get to. The Royal Rumble is perfect. It is absolutely perfect. It cannot be outdone. World War III did not succeed at it. But it was still a fun match. I feel War Games is the big WCW match that that stands the test of time for me. Darnell says, should Ronda fight for the SmackDown Women's Championship? I would rather she fight Becky, but as long as we get that, I'm okay. Michael Welcome says, so now Sasha will get an I'm sorry by losing to Ronda. Probably, yeah. I suspect that is going to happen over the next few months, because if Ronda's on SmackDown, ain't no one else for her to wrestle. Jaden said, is Sasha 100% cleared? There is no such thing as 100% cleared, just to be certain. There is cleared and there is not cleared. There is no in between. None whatsoever. Jermaine says, I just can't see Ronda versus Charlotte happening, because the last time Ronda couldn't handle the crowd booing her. Ronda choosing Charlotte, the crowd will be calling her a coward for running from Becky. Jermaine, I see where you're coming from. However, it's slightly different this time. The intention is for the crowd to boo Ronda. Ronda is not just comfortable being booed, she wants to be booed. Her speech impediment caused problems when she was a face. It really did cause some issues with her overall promos, but I feel she did her best work as a heel, and I don't think anyone would disagree with me. Connor wants to get Bron Breakker in the ring with Brock. Gonna happen. Gonna happen. One day, gonna happen. Austin said, I heard Riddle was supposed to win before Brock did. The beginning of this video, I do cover that in depth, but let's just say, just recap what I've said. Riddle's name did come up during planning. However, Brock Lesnar was always the favourite to win the Royal Rumble, and at no point was Matt Riddle told, you're going to win the Royal Rumble. Instead, a match with Riddle was pitched to Brock for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, and Brock laughed, and then won the Rumble. Douglas, welcome, says, will NXT be involved at WrestleMania? NXT will not be involved at WrestleMania. It will not be involved at Survivor Series going forward. NXT is unlikely to be involved in Royal Rumbles going forward. It will be treated as an entirely separate entity at this point. We are expecting call-ups soon, particularly for LA Knight and Bron Breakker. However, we can't say for certain when they will come. The WWE is planning call-ups for the WrestleMania Battle Royal to fill that out, and then immediately afterwards. Steve says, one more WCW one, Tom. What's your favourite WCW pay-per-view? Probably Bash at the Beach, because I just like seeing people get thrown into the water. I'm a nerd, what can I say? Jaden says, do you think Sasha could be in and win the Elimination Chamber? I think she could. I don't necessarily think they would risk her at this time. And I think Bianca Belair is a much more likely winner of the Chamber. Simon wants to get a chamber featuring Sasha versus Charlotte versus Ronda versus Lashley versus Rollins versus Owens. Or he just wants 2 triple threats for WrestleMania, but I had to play up on that one. Sonic says, I hope no Asuka fans don't do a We Want Asuka tweets on Twitter and hijack Raw. Asuka fans will not hijack Raw. I'm going to be blunt, mate. There aren't enough of them. Jay Quick says, were you surprised no Alexa, Bayley or Asuka at the Rumble? I was not. Asuka was expected to be in the Rumble, but there's a reason I said expected and not Asuka will be in the Royal Rumble. She was certainly a name that they wanted to bring in. Alexa was not planned to be in the Royal Rumble. They were intentionally trying to find people so that she didn't have to be in it. We will see a continuing evolution of her character this week because we are still in the contrast phase. We are still reintroducing who she was so that we can see who she's going to become. Bayley was not cleared. There was a fitness test. She was not cleared. And they didn't even take it that seriously because they looked at her and said, yeah, you're not cleared. Get the Table says, the match I'm hoping for is Edge and Styles. Any chance that happens at WrestleMania? Yes, in fact, the chances of that happening are quite high. Edge's match is another one not quite set in stone at the moment, but AJ Styles does not have any other plans, and Edge and AJ have both themselves pitched the match to WWE. Edge has asked for the match. AJ has also asked for the match. I am confident that is a match that we are going to get. Jaden says, are you going to be live with Raw? It's going to be an all-nighter for me. I'm not going to be live with Raw, Jaden. I won't be live for Raw. However, I do recommend checking out Get the Tables, who will be hosting a Raw watch party tonight. When I go back to full-time, I'll be doing more watch parties, such as Raw. Probably AEW, I'll be starting to do more of them. When I go full-time, that day has not come, and that day may take a while, let's be honest. Brian Dalton says, any plans for Sasha Banks' match at Mania? Nothing planned at the moment. They don't know what they're going to do, but they are determined to get her on the card somehow. Get the Table says, so WrestleVotes came out with the Orton and Riddle news. If that does happen, would it happen after Mania or at Mania? Right now, they're taking their time and putting things together. Everything is changing real last second when it comes to after the Royal Rumble. Bobby Lashley's win was quite a late decision, even though Brock Lesnar was already the favourite to win the Royal Rumble. They did consider title unification, they just didn't do it. So it wasn't a plan before day one. However, the split is coming. This is one of the reasons they've already lost the championships. The breakup between the two is coming, and coming fairly soon. Whether or not it happens at Mania, I'm not sure. I don't personally think it's going to be for the WWE Championship. However, this is one that's got a lot of moving parts. When you see wrestling journalists say plans change, plans are going to change on this. They're going to. That's just how it is right now. Certain matches, Brock versus Roman, that's definite. That's set in stone. Orton versus Riddle, not so much. Ed throwing some shade says, Ringside News needs to start doing more research on stories and less on searching McMahon not safe for work photos and putting that Google search in Twitter photos. Didn't see that. It's weird though, isn't it? I'd imagine they do that search every day or so, just in the hope that they get something that they can release as an exclusive. The sad fact is, that is helping them become the number one source for wrestling news. Because people will click that ship. Darnell thinks we're going to get Shane and Theory for Mania. Me too. Hare says, what's going to be the women's title matches at WrestleMania? Based on current reports, it will be Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Ghost of Nay, welcome. Says, Matt Hardy tweeted, thanks to everyone that joined Rebby Hardy and I on Twitch today. Very excited about all the signings and appearances that Jeff Hardy and I have coming up. The Hardy Boys are back together for one last epic run, which leads me to believe that this is in fact a retirement run for either Jeff or the Hardy Boys as a whole. Jeff Hardy is expected to sign a multiple-year contract with AEW. Essentially, he will help them get over with that nostalgia crowd from back in the Attitude Era. He will succeed in doing that. I suspect he will be signed for a quite lucrative sum based on that. However, a lucrative sum to such a degree that they won't want to repeat it. Steve says, are reports true that Shane McMahon was arguing a lot backstage during the Royal Rumble? I have not heard anything about any arguments with Shane McMahon or anyone else. However, I did say during the Royal Rumble, I did say exclusively at the time, Shane McMahon had been producing it. Shane McMahon has been producing a lot of Royal Rumbles recently. He didn't get involved in the women's, but he did make some tips and adjustments. Ghosted did post before. I appreciate you taking the link out. I do apologise for Nightbot. It posts for me, doesn't necessarily post for other people. Mogsy says, anyone else dreading the budget cuts after Mania? I don't think there'll be many after WrestleMania. They're not planning that many call-ups. Certain people, such as Dakota Kai, they're not planning on ever calling up from NXT at the minute. That's why she's on Twitch again. Spider-Boss says, I hope that Ronda versus Becky face-off works tonight. I hope that we get one. I hope that we get one. Connor says, if NXT is going to be treated as a completely separate thing, will we not see anything like AJ versus Grayson Waller again? We will, but only when main roster talent don't have anything else to do. That was just something, a bit of time killing for AJ and a favour to people lower down the card. That being the developmental side. We'll still get a couple of appearances, but it is not considered to be worthy of main roster, essentially. Jay says, will WWE be doing cuts again this year, or do you think they don't have enough superstars for it? Right now, they have no intention of cutting anyone else unless something extraneous happens. I've already explained why they cut Jeff Hardy, even though they actually genuinely didn't have a reason to. There is no evidence of any drug abuse on Jeff Hardy's part. None whatsoever. It sounds like he was released for no reason. Fired, I should say, for no reason. So I think there will be releases, but it'll be few and far between, and it will mostly be contracts expiring. Ali will go next. He will go. Ed says, NXT will have stand and deliver during Mania week, and I look forward to having a watch party alongside you, sir, for that one. Ed and I do host joint watch parties for NXT shows, and I very much enjoy them. Sean says, Alexa returns during the build towards WrestleMania. Technically, she's already returned. As I say, they've recorded a lot of vignettes, so she's not there more often than not. She is popping in every now and then, but she's not there most of the time when the vignettes are playing. I think we'll see her more coming up to WrestleMania, but I don't know what match they have planned, so I'll wait and see. Jermaine says, I do think one of the women's matches at WrestleMania will be a triple threat. If so, it'll probably be the Becky one. Kevin says, no Xia Li or Cesaro or Finn Balor in the Royal Rumble. No plans for them at WrestleMania either. Jay says, what happens to Beth? Will she join the women or still tag with Edge? A bit of both. There is consideration for more mixed tag matches, primarily Becky and Seth versus Edge and Beth. That will happen later this year. However, Beth Phoenix can pick up the rest of the matches as it were. So she could jump in against Becky solo, for example, and that is something under consideration after Becky loses the championship. Max says, if Charlotte versus Ronda happens, who is going to be the face? Nobody. WWE don't really seem to care about face or heel as much anymore. Sonic says, Asuka, Alexa Bliss and Bayley are taking their time to come. As soon as they get back, the more impatient fans are going to get when they get ready for Raw every week. I've missed Bayley, I've missed Bliss, I've missed Asuka. I haven't seen that much desperation to see them on social media, but I'm not in the same circles that you are. You would know better than me on that one. BFG says, what music can they use for the Hardy Boys? Jeff Hardy in AEW, and how long until they are likely to go full-time? Oh, full-time is a tricky one. I don't think either of them are going to be full-time with AEW, or at least they won't be wrestling every week. They're going to be looking after themselves a little bit more, even though Jeff Hardy's not going to want to do that. When it comes to what music they can use, basically anything they can get the license to. No more words? No. That's basically the only no. Get the Table says, in your opinion, is Riddle ready to carry the world title? I do believe that he is. I do believe it would be a very good moment for him. And I do believe it would be a very good moment for the development of stars in WWE. It's at least a new face, even if he is an older one, and I feel it's very good with the way he's been developing with Randy Orton. He's got a very entertaining storyline. Without this storyline, without the involvement of Randy Orton, then my answer would be no. Simon says, Ronda Charlotte both hated the match. Won't work, who's facing a few. I have no idea what you're meaning there, Simon. What match? What match did they hate? I don't understand. Max says, is there any chance that Drew is going to be added to Brock and Roman's match at WrestleMania? There is no chance that we're going to see Drew added to the Brock and Roman match at WrestleMania. Douglas says, any update on for Finn Balor? Yes, he has taken a break. He has returned recently, and they ain't got no plans for him. None whatsoever. Just none. If there's no WWE plans, they tend not to use someone at the Royal Rumble. Finn Balor was not used at the Royal Rumble because there are no plans for him at WrestleMania. Kevin says, Tom, do you think Sasha will have a match at WrestleMania? Yes. They are determined to get a match at WrestleMania for Sasha. They just don't know what that match is going to be. Jaden says, if Charlotte will not face Ronda at WrestleMania, will she then face Sasha? That is the most likely scenario, yes. Larry, welcome, says RK Bro is a nice tag team the crowds like. If WWE had any sense, they would be together at least another year. Any split would be a shock then, not like now, whenever everyone is expecting it. The fact that this report has come out has made a lot more people expect it. If, for example, the split happened on Raw this week and we didn't see those reports, suddenly we'd be very excited. If we hadn't seen any reports on Matt Riddle winning the WWE Championship, potentially, and we had them go at it in the Elimination Chamber with Randy Orton pinning Matt Riddle to win the championship, then suddenly we've got a very interesting story that I'm really behind. The report, I feel, has really derailed their momentum. Dimitar says, do you think that the report about low morale at the Rumble are true? Yes and no. Quite a few people in the WWE right now aren't happy anyway. The releases have hit the locker room a lot harder than the Royal Rumble. But yeah, there's a lot of disappointment with the Royal Rumble overall. That includes from Brock Lesnar. Sonic, I have no idea who Io Shirai's tag team for the Dusty Women's Tag Team Classic will be. I don't follow NXT enough to really be able to speculate. Jermaine says, a smart move for WWE to me will be to have Ronda team with Shayna, win the women's tag titles and defend them at WrestleMania, also defeating Becky so she can hold up two belts in front of Becky. My suspicion is that we will get Ronda Rousey winning a championship at WrestleMania, and then yes, also tagging with Shayna Baszler. I think they will have the moment of two belts Ronda. I think we will have that moment. Also, I think that will be very good for Shayna because I think Shayna would be taking the championship away from Ronda Rousey. Shayna, however, is on SmackDown, and I know for a fact that Ronda Rousey wants to work with her, and that is why she has requested more time on SmackDown. Kevin says, I hope WWE trolls the fans about Charlotte versus Ronda because everybody wants Becky versus Ronda. They cannot miss the opportunity of getting Becky and Ronda Rousey in a ring together tonight, can they? Surely not. Surely not. Spider Boss says, with WWE looking for a match for Sasha at WrestleMania, who do you think would be a good rival for Sasha? I think it's most likely to be Sasha versus Shayna, personally. I think that's the most likely scenario. Jaden says, if Charlotte will not face Ronda at WrestleMania, will she then face Sasha? I did mention this earlier. If she's not facing Ronda, Sasha's basically the only choice. John says, your thoughts on the triple threat between Seth, Dean, Roman at Battleground 2016? Was Dean the right winner? Yes. Yes, he was. At the time, he had just become WWE Champion. I didn't want him to lose that belt, especially with all the preview stuff beforehand. I really enjoyed it. I thought that was a really good promo package and just a really good feud. But as much as anything, Roman Reigns had just come back from suspension. Just come back. And it's also the only time in a championship match when the Shield rock, paper, scissors has been broken. Megan's about to jump in and say, no, but I'm confident. I'm going to be wrong, but I'm confident. Dimitar says, I can see them adding Sasha to the Charlotte-Ronda feud if they need a face. I'm not against that. I wouldn't be against that at all. That said, if they were adding people, Ronda would want Shayna. Daniel Borelli says, any plans for Cesaro/Claudio? I know probably not, but it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask or ask me anything. And honestly, the more people chat and say stuff on YouTube, the more engagement you get, the more people come in. Because the more YouTube advertising is, when that chat rate goes up and when those likes go in, a lot of good stuff happens. So it really helps to ask. At the moment, no plans that I'm aware of for Cesaro at WrestleMania. It is a distant fall and a distant memory from where he was last year. Spider Boss says Ronda vs Charlotte didn't work in 2018. Why do it again? I really enjoyed that match at Survivor Series 2018. I thought it was really good. I thought they had an okay storyline. I mean, I thought it was alright. Jermaine says, I can see them doing Sasha and Aaliyah versus Zelina and Carmella for the women's tag titles. There goes your Sasha match at WrestleMania. The thing is, you are building a new star there. In fact, you're building several. Sasha would be helping Aaliyah, Zelina and Carmella, none of which are anywhere close to championship level at this point. Not a bad call to build the future. Not great for Sasha, but he builds the future. Get the Table says, is there any particular reason why talent who aren't used on the main roster don't get moved down to NXT? Well, a lot of them have had that as an option, and it has been pitched to them. Mandy Rose, for example, was told, we think you need a bit more development. Do you want to go back to NXT? And she was like, yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be fantastic. Go ahead. A lot of it's down to the money. Mandy Rose, for example, may have taken a pay cut, whereas Braun Strowman was on millions. He ain't going to NXT. Mogsy says, any update on Elias? The only update at the moment for Elias is no update. He's vanished entirely. He's at home. He's not even been seen backstage recently. Elias is one of those. They had big plans for him briefly, but nothing came to fruition, and he's been on a steady decline when it comes to the faith of WWE management. I did see a report from, I think it was Inside the Ropes this time last year, saying, oh, the Raw's going to be built around Elias. Yeah. Anytime anyone from Inside the Ropes comes after me, I'll just be reminding them of that. Larry says, going to any workplace and half the people will be whining about the bosses and the job. Why should wrestling be any different? You are absolutely correct, Larry. And I think that's a very fair comment. And that's one of the reasons so much information gets leaked by wrestlers. It's just a way for them to say, I'm not happy, without actually acting out in a match. Kervin says, if WWE have no plan for Finn Balor, send him back to NXT UK. Oh, sorry, send him to NXT UK. I would have no issues with that. I really wouldn't. However, they want him out of the way, essentially. The consideration was that Finn Balor was in the way of developing talent in NXT. He came to SmackDown not with any real plan, just to get him out the way. Jermaine says, hey Tom, I thought WWE was saving Drew McIntyre for SummerSlam to go up against Roman Reigns. That still could be the case. I'm confident we're going to get Drew versus Roman relatively soon after WrestleMania, but that doesn't mean he has to stay after the whole time. We haven't seen Drew versus Roman after all. Megan says, I came back from getting a drink to hear my name. Good, you didn't catch what I was saying. I was saying about the Shield Triple Threat at Battleground 2013. Dean pinned Roman, which I believe is the only time in a championship match that the Triple Threat Rock, Paper, Scissors has been broken. Ed says, are we surprised WWE is not taking into account problematic competitors going into big title matches, aka Ronda, for anti-trans and Sandy Hook stuff? No, not surprised at all. I mean, after all, Ronda Rousey is probably going to wrestle in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia. Jaden said, is Bayley going to be back at Mania? Close to, yes. The belief is that she will be cleared beforehand. However, that's not a guarantee. Connor says, have you heard anything on the issue you mentioned with Cesaro and WWE could have departed? No, nothing further on that one. I'm still trying to get more information, but WWE were not generally happy with how things have essentially ended with up, up, down, down, and departy. It may have affected Cesaro. It will not be affecting Xavier Woods. You are welcome, Daniel. I appreciate that. Douglas says maybe it's Sasha Banks versus Sonya Deville. That is a tempting idea, Douglas. I really like where your head is at. I would love to see Sasha Banks versus Sonya Deville. I briefly forgot about Sonya Deville. What the hell is wrong with me? Michael says, as of now, I don't see anything really benefiting Sasha at Mania. They screwed her over so bad. It's not been her year so far, has it? Dimitar says, I would rather they team up Sasha with Naomi since they're really close in real life. Wouldn't be a bad shout. Again, we could have, for example, Sasha and Naomi versus Sonya and Shayna. We're trying to build people here. We're trying to build people. It's good for Naomi, it's good for Shayna, it's good for Sonya. Not that good for Sasha, of course, but if we're trying to build people, Sasha's a key part of that. BFG says, what is going on with Kurt Angle and WWE? There seems to be a comeback brewing there. There does. Kurt Angle is not unhappy with the WWE. After his release, on several different occasions, there was ideas pitched and concepts of, do you want to come back and do this? Do you want to come back and do that? There is no bad blood between the WWE and Kurt Angle. The issue essentially with Kurt Angle is the amount of money he costs. Boy's expensive. Like, Boy's genuinely expensive. And the WWE just aren't always willing to spend that much. Which is why I think we're likely to see Kurt Angle for the next couple of weeks. Maybe in the build to WrestleMania, just be a big name, be a little bit of excitement as we go on with it. And see how it plays out. Kurt Angle is well liked backstage. Pardon me. Kurt Angle is well liked backstage by wrestlers and management. I don't think he'll ever wrestle for the WWE again. They don't want that to happen. But I would imagine he's going to make a couple of surprise appearances. It wouldn't surprise me to see him at the Hall of Fame, for example. Kervin says, what's going on with Veer? He's coming. He's coming, alright? Don't rush the guy. He's got a lot to do. He's got to pack his bags. He's got to make sure his passport's in date. He's got to feed his cat. Veer is coming. Okay? Wait. KJ says, I missed the whole show. Mom hogging up all my time. Damn it. How dare she? We've still got just over 10 minutes, KJ. Welcome to the show. We have 29 viewers in here right now on YouTube. 48 viewers in total. We briefly just touched 50 viewers. Guys, we briefly just touched 50 viewers. That is cool. And I'm marking out a little bit. Not going to lie, I'm marking out a little bit. Just a little bit. We are currently sitting on 18 likes over on YouTube as well. I'm going to quickly drop the YouTube link into the Twitch chat for anyone who has not checked it out. And I'm also going to drop a link to the Twitch into the YouTube chat for anyone who has a Twitch but has not yet followed over there as well. Every follow, every like, every subscription makes a big, big difference. We report news here on the Tom Colohue channels. We were the only ones to have news of Sasha Banks having her mental health break way back when. Only one to accurately report that Sasha Banks was not planned to be at the SummerSlam Go Home Show SmackDown. Only ones to accurately report that Becky Lynch would be returning for SummerSlam. More recently, only ones to report about Shane McMahon's return. First ones to report about Ronda Rousey coming back. If you haven't yet clicked subscribe, if you haven't yet clicked follow, do it now because you will be missing out. There is a lot of news that's going to be coming on this channel in the next few days, and you don't have to pay. It is absolutely free. KJ says, wait, so up, down, down is done. It is not done. However, they're currently debating what to do next. Essentially, the up, down, down schedule was based around Xavier Woods not having that much time. So he needed to find new ways to create content. So the up, down, down team started. A lot more people were involved. Then the WWE fired them all. Xavier Woods not the happiest with that whole situation. WWE not entirely happy with the whole DeParty thing. But Xavier Woods was eventually told, no, you absolutely cannot have Cesaro. No, you could have Cesaro. Wrong one. You cannot have Adam Cole there. You cannot have Tyler Breeze there. You can have Cesaro, but on our terms. It got awkward. Simon says, at this point, I just want to see Sasha get a win at Mania. I get you, mate. I get you. Jermaine says, is tonight we're going to get a vignette of Veer still coming to Raw anytime now? Yes. Tonight on Raw, here's an exclusive report for you. You will find out that Veer is still coming. Still coming. Still coming. Spider Boss says, Sasha versus Sonya with a stipulation. If Sonya loses, she wrestles again. If Sasha loses, she goes to Raw. Ooh, really mixing it up there. I like that. Connor says, is there any news on what Big Bunny, on what Bad Bunny's match could be at Mania? I was thinking Corbin and Moss versus Bunny and Drew, possibly. Possibly, yes. However, it seems more likely that it's going to be something involving either Rey Mysterio or Sheamus. Sheamus is trying to make a match happen. However, it looks like Bad Bunny will be on Raw. I believe it will be something involving Bad Bunny, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio versus another trio. That I think is the most likely. Max says, I'm afraid they're going to do Sasha versus Charlotte at the Elimination Chamber. It'll be a hell of a match. It'll be a lot of fun. Sean says, did you see that Jade Cargill said she would like to have a match with Bianca? Bianca also said she wanted a match with Jade Cargill. I mean, that could happen and that would be fun. Megan, as always, bringing the stats and the information. Saying Bad Bunny probably won't have a match at Mania as it's in the middle of his tour. He'll probably appear, but it might be too risky for him to wrestle. It is a possibility, however, that depends on Bad Bunny. Of course, he himself may decide to go for it anyway. It may be a Rock situation whereby insurance won't allow it for the promoters, though. Jaden says, do you think Sasha is going to wrestle Sasha soon? I think Sasha wrestles Sasha every day. Don't we all wrestle ourselves every day? We don't wrestle Sasha every day. We wrestle ourselves every day. Boss Pedal says, WWE is smart. If they bring back Kurt Angle, there'll be a good reason for the crowds chanting, you suck. Has anyone heard the song that Kurt Angle released? It was called I Don't Suck. I don't suck. I don't suck. I don't suck. Good shit. Connor says Veer's theme tune needs to be MVP's tune, where it opens with I'm coming. Yes. Yes. Veer for the Hurt Business. Fortuna says Veer is walking to WWE. Had to take some time. Come on. Yeah, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. Bailey says 49 viewers is solid. Not just a raid that comes and goes. Indeed. It is fantastic. Quite a lot of people on Twitch. Quite a lot of people on YouTube. We're going crazy. We've got 21 likes now. 21 likes. Oh, these are the days where I never want the shows to end. Good stuff. KJ said they should put Kurt with Alpha Academy or Gable Steveson. Kurt Angle and Gabe Steveson could be fun. Gable Steveson is expected to be at WrestleMania. That's exclusive. Larry says waiting for the second coming of Veer is getting quite biblical. Feels like 2,000 years. Kervin says you enjoy Becky Lynch versus Doudrop match or not? I thought it was okay. I was distracted by the fact that there was a fire. So we're there. Douglas says I hope there will be a ladder match in WrestleMania. I'd like a ladder tag team match. Probably on the Raw side where no one's really that well established. Rob says Veer is carefully searching Priceline for bargain airline tickets. Patience. Simon says Bailey plans for Mania. None as of yet. She's not cleared for action. Gary says not a Twitch watcher and have Amazon Prime. Click the link and go drop a Twitch Prime on Tom. It costs you nothing and he gets money from it. Thank you, Gary. That is absolutely correct. If you do have Twitch Prime, you can sign up on Twitch, connect your Amazon Prime account, and drop me a subscription with that Prime for absolutely nothing. I get paid by that. It costs you nothing. Dimitar says, could be Bailey versus Sasha, since they have wanted that match to happen at Mania. They have wanted it for a long time. That would mean that Bailey would have to be cleared, though. Also, that's two faces. Gage says, wait, so Cesaro is being blocked from up, down, down. Haven't heard anything about Cesaro being blocked from up, down, down. Just to be clear, there are problems with up, down, down. I misspoke earlier saying Cesaro's name and corrected myself. Cesaro could still make content. However, it's not the party anymore. Michael says, I'd love to see a Sasha versus Sonya feud. Never thought of that. Could be fun. Could be fun. Jaden said, is Sasha going to wrestle Ronda soon? Maybe. If Ronda is on SmackDown, Sasha will be in her way on several opportunities. Jermaine said, thanks, Tom, for keeping us fans informed. No problem, Jermaine. I thank you very much for dropping in and showing faith and having a great time. You guys make these shows possible. There is no Tom Colohue without you guys jumping in, asking questions, chatting away between each other, occasionally getting into little scraps, just having a whale of a time. So many of you I see for every single show. It's amazing. You guys have kept me straight and narrow, I'll tell you that. Rob says, Veer disguised as Big Bunny. Kevin says, I can see tonight's Raw ratings go up like 2 million views. I don't think they'll go up by 2 million, but I think they'll hit the 2 million comfortably. They have Ronda, they have Brock. It's going to be one of those nights after the Rumble fallout. KJ says, I thought Bad Bunny's tour didn't start until August, so his schedule is clear. Also, I think it was Meltzer saying Rumble was one-off. He hasn't done much if it's a one-off. That'd be a shame. Sonic says, well, it seems like Sheamus is hinting at a feud between him and Bad Bunny. He's trying to make it happen. He's not hinting at it, he's trying to make it happen, which is clever. Michael says, instead of booing Ronda, fans should just sit on their hands. That would make the WWE get rid of her. That would absolutely make them get rid. Because here's the thing. The worst thing that a WWE performer can have is silence. Look at Nicky Cross. That is the worst thing that can happen to a wrestler. Jay says, do you think if they had Sasha to Charlotte and Ronda, she's taking the pin? No idea. Completely hypothetical situations. I can't make a judgment based on that. Ghost says, will any of the legends featured at the Rumble be making an appearance anytime soon? I think we're likely to see Cameron on Friday. Outside of that, not sure. And Simon says, Drew versus Corbin at Mania. Seems so, yes. That seems like the plan at the moment. I think it's more likely to be Drew versus Corbin and Madcap Moss. It's a while away yet, so I'm not sure, but I think it will be. Megan has double checked, saying just checked Bad Bunny's tour dates. He has 2 sellout shows in Miami, Florida on WrestleMania weekend. I think it's safe to say he won't be at WrestleMania. Interesting. That certainly seems likely then. Last I heard, Bad Bunny was available, at least for the foreseeable, for anything the WWE were going for. Miami, Florida, certainly not somewhere you're going to fly straight from to get to WrestleMania. Spider-Boss says, who will get more boos, Charlotte or Ronda? Charlotte. Rob says, Team Colohue in full effect. I am considering starting that up proper at some point soon. There's a few little tiny things which would make a massive difference. But I think first I need to actually get a t-shirt design. Connor says, there you go, Bobby drops the title to reunite the Hurt Business for the 16th time. We got Hurt Business versus Bad Bunny and the Mysterios. Easy. It's not impossible. Max says, when do you think we are going to get Ronda's decision? Tonight. Very much tonight. Simon is saying, what's Liv's plans for Mania? Probably the Battle Royal. Sean says, any call-ups tonight, do you think? I do not expect to see any call-ups tonight. I think they will save the majority of them for just after WrestleMania. Oh, Simon's been lovely. Saying Tom is the best, most truthful pro wrestling journalist in the world. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate that. There are some very good wrestling journalists out there, just to be clear. Steve is saying, any plans for Rhea Ripley or Liv Morgan for Mania? They're trying to come up with something for Rhea Ripley. They want her to be in a big match. I feel this is just going to be Battle Royal territory, though. Sean says, any plans for US and Intercontinental titles at WrestleMania? They are currently trying to work out who would be ideally placed for Damian Priest. They are interested in, for example, Seth versus Damian. That's something that's been bandied about a little bit. Before Bobby Lashley won the championship, they were looking at Bobby versus Damian Priest. That's been passed around and could still be a play. There's a number of different possibilities. They're not secure on it. As regards the IC Championship, Sami Zayn is likely to go into WrestleMania as the champion. His competitor, not an easy one to pick. There are no good guys left. Rob says, is Orton trying to barter a Lashley match? Nope, he's going to be offered one. He's going to be offered one without any bartering whatsoever. Michael says, are they doing the pre-show battle royals? They didn't do them last year. They did not. They dropped them for COVID reasons. They are trying to essentially get enough people to fill a ring for a battle royal, but they are intending to do both battle royals this year. KJ says, Ronda is over for now. I don't think she'll be booed against Charlotte. Maybe if they do her versus Becky next year, Becky will be a face then, and Ronda can be a rude SOB. I don't think she's going to get to WrestleMania with cheers. Dimitar is suggesting Rhea versus Beth Phoenix. That could be a lot of fun. I like that. I very much like that. Connor says Sami Zayn versus Rick Boogs at Mania. Good spot for Boogs. Sorry, Connor says that. Simon says Sasha versus Rhea is a dream match. Raw versus SmackDown like Umaga versus Batista at Mania 24. We'll see how that goes. And KJ says, how about they do Sammy versus Drew for the IC title? Could be fun. Drew is an IC champion. It's happened way back when. Jaden has asked, at what days do you go live? So my schedule at the moment is 10 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays, 10 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays. We do a live SmackDown watch party, and then off and on we do 10 p.m. shows on Sundays. My intention is that I'll also eventually start doing gaming shows again, at which point I'll create a Colohue gaming YouTube channel to be entirely separate. We have just reached the hour. Just reached the hour. And before I go on with that, I'd just like to say, huge thank you for everyone who has joined us. These shows are getting more and more visited, as it were. On YouTube, we capped at 31. On Twitch, I think we capped at 22. It's absolutely amazing. We had 52 viewers over two different channels at some point here. And for me, that's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I want to say a huge thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please remember to hit that thumbs up. Hit subscribe as well. Because, as I've mentioned, and here's the thing, as I've mentioned, over the course of the last 3 weeks, we have gained 80 subscribers. 80. That is nearly 3 per day. That is absolutely ridiculous. And I cannot thank you all enough for making this happen for me. We are about 125 subscribers away from monetization. At which point, Tom Colohue gets paid for making these shows. You guys don't have to spend money. I don't want to take money from your pockets. I mean, I'll take it, obviously. Money's money. But it gets me this much closer to full time. This much closer. After that, we start building Colohue Gaming, and then maybe a website or something like that. 52 Dara, I know, right? 52. Bailey is suggesting, how about Rhea versus Sammy? Rhea versus Sammy. I still want to see Rhea Ripley versus Drew McIntyre one day. I just want it. Dara says, Rick Boogs wins the Andre at Mania. That's actually a really good shout. I think it'd be perfect for that. Connor says, how did that promotion thing at work go? Did they finally accept that you know where you live? They did, yes. I started today. Life's pretty good, guys. Life's pretty good. I thank all of you for your time, your patience, your support. We do, if anyone isn't aware, have a Discord. So let me just grab a link to the Discord. I think I'm going to click that. Do I click that? Invite people. Get me a link. We do have ourselves a Discord channel. So if you have not joined us there already, here it is on Twitch. And here it is on YouTube. You can join the Discord, chat away, and we'll have ourselves some fun. In the meantime, however... Hey KJ. In the meantime, it is time. We have just passed the hour. Please save any further questions that you have for Friday. I'm looking at uploading a couple of standard YouTube videos over the course of the next few days. Not entirely sure what they're going to be. A lot of this will be reiterated. But if you get the chance, please do check those out. It is a big help to me to have people watching the YouTube videos that aren't live as well. They're usually a lot shorter as well. At the moment, we are looking to cap at monetization 600 hours of watch time. 600. KJ, that was at the beginning of this show. By all means, at the end of it, rewind back and you'll be able to check out quite in-depth report on that. In the meantime, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I'll see you all very soon.